Students, friends, today we are discussing about the fundamental principles of business economics for the BCom first semester students. Already we have discussed as meaning of business economics, nature, principles, objectives, importance, and role and responsibility of the business economics. Today we discuss fundamental principles of business economics. Managerial economics is both conceptual and metrical. Before the substantive decision problem which fall within the purview of managerial economics are discussed. It is useful to identify and understand some of the basic concept underlining the subjects. Economic theory provides a number of concepts and analytical tools which can be considerable and immense help to manager in taking many decisions and business planning. This is not to say that economic has all the solution. In fact, actually problem solving in business has found that there exists a wide disparity between economic theory of the firm and actually observed practice. Therefore, it would be useful to examine the basic tools of managerial economics and the nature and extent of gap between the economic theory of the firm and the managerial theory of the firm. The contribution of economics to managerial economics lies in certain principles which are basic to managerial economics. There are six basic principles of managerial economics or business economics. They are: first one, the incremental concept; second one, the concept of time perspective; third one, the opportunity cost concept; fourth one, the discounting concept; fifth one, the Equi marginal concept; sixth one, risk and uncertainty. The first one, the incremental concept, what it indicates. The incremental concept is probably the most important concept in economics and is certainly the most frequently used in managerial economics. Incremental concept is closely related to the marginal cost and marginal revenues of economic theory. The two major concepts in this analysis are incremental cost and incremental revenue. Incremental cost denotes change in total cost, whereas incremental revenue means change in total revenue resulting from a decision of the firm. When the decision of the firm mainly depend upon to the incremental cost as well as the incremental revenue. It increases revenue more than costs. It decreases some cost to a greater extent that increases others. It increases some revenues more than it decreases others. It reduces costs more than revenue. So illustration, the best example. Some businessmen hold the view that to make an overall profit, They must make a profit on every job. The result is that they refuse orders that do not cover full cost plus a provision of profits. This will lead to rejection of an order which prevents short-run profits. A simple problem will illustrate this point. Suppose a new order is estimated to bring in an additional revenue of rupees 10,000. The costs are estimated as under labor cost rupees 3,000, materials rupees 4,000, overhead charges rupees 3,600, selling and administrative expenses rupees 1,400, full cost of rupees 12,000. In order to appear to be unprofitable, for it results in a loss of rupees 2,000. However, suppose there is a idli capacity which can be utilized to execute this order. If order adds only rupees 1,000 to overhead charges and rupees 2,000 by way of labor cost, because some of the idli workers already on the payroll will be deployed without added pay and extra selling and administrative costs, then the actually increment cost as follow: labor cost rupees 2,000, materials rupees 4,000, overhead charges rupees 1,000, total incremental cost rupees 7,000. Thus there is a profit of rupees 3,000. In order to can be accepted on the basis of incremental reasoning. Incremental reasoning does not mean that the firm should accept all orders at prices which cover merely their incremental cost. I think the second one is the concept of time perspective. How time perspective concept very important in the business economics. The time perspective concept states that the decision maker must give due consideration both to the short run and long run effects of his decisions. He must give due emphasis to the various time periods. It was Marshall who introduced time element in economic theory. The economic concepts of the long run and short run become part of everyday language. Managerial economics are also concerned with the short run and long run effects of decisions on revenues as well as costs. The main problem in decision making is to establish the right balance between long run and short run. In the short period of the firm can change its output without changing its size. In the long period, the firm can change its output by changing its size. In short period, the output of the industry is fixed because the firms cannot change their size of operation and they can vary only variable factors. In the long period, the output of the industry is likely to be more because the firms have time to increase their sizes and also use both variable and fixed factors. And in short period, the average cost of firm may be either more or less than its average revenue. In long period, the average cost of the firm will be equal to its average revenue. A decision may be made on the basis of short-run consideration, but may time elements or have a long run represents it make to the less profitable than it at first appear. The one of the most important example for the illustration of these things, the form which ignores the short run and long run consideration will meet with the failure can be explained with the help of the following illustration. Suppose, very interesting, students attractive that, students are attentive that, suppose a firm having a temporary idli capacity received an order for 10,000 units of its product. The customer is willing to pay only rupees 4 per unit or rupees 40,000 for the whole lot, but no more. The short run incremental cost is only rupees 3. It contributes to overhead and profit is rupees 1 per unit. And if the firm executive this order, it will have to face the following, that some problems in that particularly these things. And we are going to the third point, the opportunity cost concepts. Both micro and macroeconomics make abundant use of fundamental concept of opportunity cost. In everyday life, we apply the notion of opportunity cost even if we are unable to articulate its significance. In managerial economics, the opportunity cost concept is useful in a decision involving choice between different alternative courses of action. Resources are scarce. We cannot produce all the commodities. For the production of one commodity, we have to forgo the production of another commodity. We cannot have everything we want. We are therefore forced to make a choice. Opportunity cost of a decision is the sacrifice of alternatives required by the decision. This is also called as opportunity cost. Sacrifice of alternatives is involved when carrying out a decision requires using a resource that is limited in supply with the firm opportunity cost, therefore represents the benefits or revenue foregone by pursuing one course of action rather than another. Now, this opportunity cost is just a national idea which does not appear in the books of account of the company. If resource has not alternative use, then its opportunity cost is nil. In managerial decision or in business decision making, the concept of opportunity cost occupies an important place to the economic significance of the opportunity cost as follow. It helps in determining relative price of different goods. It helps in determining normal remuneration to a factor of production. It helps in proper allocation of factor resources. And next one, equi-marginal concept. One of the widest known principles of economics, is the equi-marginal principle. The principle states that an input should be allocated so that value added by the lost in it is the same in all cases. This generalization is popular called the equi-marginal. Let us assume a case in which the firm has 100 unit of labor at its disposal and the firm is involved in 5 activities like A, B, C, D and E. The firm can increase any one of these activities by employing more labor, but only at the cost, that is sacrifice of other activities. An optimum allocation cannot be achieved if the value of the marginal product is greater in one activity than in another. It would be therefore profitable to shift labor from low marginal value activities to high marginal value activity, thus increasing the total value of all product taken together. If, for example, the value of marginal product of labor in activity A is rupees 50, while that in activity B is rupees 70, then it is possible and profitable to shift labor from activity A to activity B. The optimum is reached when the values of the marginal product is equal to all activities. This can be expressed symbolically as follow: VMPLA equal to VMPLB equal to VMPLC equal to VMPLD equal to VMPLE, where VMP stands for value of marginal products, L indicating that labor, ABCDE equal to activities. The value of marginal products of labor employed in A is equal to the value of the marginal product of the labor employed in B, and so on. The equi-marginal principle is an extremely fractional notion. It is behind any rational budgetary procedure. The principle is also applied in investment decisions and allocation of research expenditures. For a consumer, this concept implies that money may be allocated over various commodities such that marginal utility derived from the use of each commodity is the same. Similarly, for a producer, this concept implies the resource be allocated in such a manner that the marginal product of the inputs is the same in all uses. And fifth one, discounting concept. This concept is an extension of the concept of time perspective. Since future is unknown and incalculable, there is lot of risk and uncertainty in future. Everyone knows that a rupee today is worth more than a rupee will be 2 years from now. This appears similar to saying that a bird in hand is more worth than two in the bus. This judgment is made not an account of the uncertainty surrounding the future or the risk of inflation. It is simply that In the intervening period, a sum of money can earn a return which is ruled out if the same sum is available only at the end of the period. In technically parlance, it is said that the present value of 1 rupee available at the end of 2 years is the present value of 1 rupee available today. The mathematical techniques. The mathematical techniques for adjusting for the time value of money and computing present value is called discounting. What is discounting? The mathematical technique for adjusting for the time value of money and computing present value is called discounting. So we are giving that the best examples in this PPT presentation. And then lastly, we studied the last point is risk and uncertainty. Just you have to understanding the formula of the compounding present value is given here. The concept of discounting is found most useful in managerial economics or business economics, in decision problems pertaining to investment planning or capital budgeting. The formula of computing the present value is given. V is equal to A divided by the 1 plus I, where V present value, A amount invested rupees 100, I rate of interest 5%, V equal to 100 divided by the 1 plus 0.5 equal to 100 divided by 1 0.5 equal to rupees 95.24. Similarly, the present value of rupees 100 which will be discounted at the end of 2 years. A 2 years value V is equal to A upon 1 plus I bracket divided by the 2. For n years, V A divided by the 1 plus I n. And then risk and uncertainty. Managerial decisions or business economic decisions or actions of today which bear fruits in future, which is unforeseen. Future is uncertainty and involve risk. The uncertainty is due to unpredictable changes in the business cycle, structure of the economy, and government policies. This means that the management must assume the risk of making decisions for their institution in uncertain and unknown economic conditions in the future. Firms may be uncertain about production, market prices, strategy of reveals, etc. Under uncertainty, the consequences of an action are not known immediately for certain. Economic theory generally assumes that the firm has perfect knowledge of its costs and demand relationships and of its environment. Uncertainty is not allowed to affect the decision. Uncertainty arises because producer simply cannot foresee the dynamic changes in the economy, and hence cost and revenue data of their firms with reasonable accuracy. Also, dynamic changes are extended to the firm. They are beyond the control of the firm. The result is that the risk from unexpected changes in a firm's cost and revenue data cannot be estimated, and therefore the risks from such a changes cannot be insured. but products must attempt to predict the future cost and revenue data of their firms and determine the output and price policies. The managerial economists have tried to take account of uncertainty with the help of subjective probability. The probability treatment of uncertainty require formulation of definite subject expectation about cost, revenue, and the government. The probability of the future events are influenced by the time horizons, the risk attitude, the rate of change of the environment. Thank you, one and all.